Welcome back to the Old Colony Cast, a podcast about all things Plymouth and surrounding areas. I'm your host. This one sounds very phoned in.
That's okay.
Was it? All right. But I'm your host, Andy, and I'm joined today by which one is the co-host on this one?
Oh, it's still Hanna.
I feel like
by co-host.
Fish is always a co-host, kind of, though.
I get the soundboard. I get to say producer. That's kind of the gig.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Whatever.
So co-host Hanna.
Hello.
And research producer Fish.
Yellow.
So Hanna, what are we talking about today?
I have no idea.
Me either.
This is exciting.
This is so weird. So why don't we know what we're talking about today, Fish? He's got notes.
Well, Andy, you never know what we're talking about. That's kind of the
That's pretty
operative.
much that's fair. Yeah.
That's the OP of the show.
Yeah.
Fish has notes.
Fish has notes.
Fish has notes. 130 episodes in, Fish has finally looked something up before he needed to. That's right. I'm not just
If there's questions, who's looking them up?
Oh, it's still me.
Oh, still you? All right. Okay.
Yeah, this is the weird part.
For a second, I thought my whole world was turned upside down.
Nope, I am my own Google.
I was gonna say I can Google things too.
I believe in you.
He does it compulsively, though.
I can't not do it, so you might as well
Yeah.
let me. All right. Okay.
So what are we talking about today, Fish?
All right. So.
You can tell he's new at this.
I know. This is not my side, this is not my side of the notebook. So I realized I don't know what happened to Plymouth Colony. So Plymouth Colony was established in 1620.
Uh-huh.
And at some point it stopped being a colony.
Yes.
And I realized I didn't know what happened, so I tried to figure it out.
Is it different from Plymouth Bay Colony?
Plymouth Colony and Massachusetts Bay Colony.
Oh, that's what it is.
Were separate colonies.
No, I meant to say I thought it was Massachusetts Colony and Plymouth Bay Colony.
Nope.
So I was like, is that different? It is.
It is.
And also just the wrong names for both. So okay.
Yes.
Is it different than the Old Colony Cast?
Yeah.
Not at this point, no. That's kind of how this works.
But I knew they were different because both of them handled Christmas differently.
Yes.
Oh, which I believe, did we cover that on a
We
previous?
did.
Yes.
All right.
Ban on Christmas.
But yeah, Massachusetts Bay was established in 1628. And
That was a little bit after William Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's
just a skosh.
a little bit before the molasses flood.
Yeah.
After Shakespeare, before the molasses flood, in this broad range of what we call time. So I was trying to figure out what happened to it, and I ran into something called the Dominion of New England.
Uh-huh.
I've heard of that.
I think it's because I've been talking about doing this episode for and it's on page 1 of the list.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I probably
We get to cross something off the list.
Yeah. We've crossed 3 things off the list in the last month. It's amazing.
Wow.
I feel like I probably have seen it and been like, we've done that. And not, you know what
And
I
not
mean?
realize-
Because we talk about things regarding it.
Yeah.
But it is the time where King Charles decided that all of New England was going to be one colony. Mm-hmm. Because he did not like Massachusetts.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, we were bad.
Because of our sports teams?
We were very...
Yes. Also because Massachusetts and Plymouth were both very Puritan. And he was just a mainline Anglican, being the head of the church.
Part of the reason why they left over there. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so basically he didn't like how they were running things. He wanted to basically take control of the New England colonies. New Hampshire literally exists to spite Massachusetts. That's neither here nor there.
Massachusetts also did a lot of shiesty.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's a sketchy couple of colonies.
Yeah. A lot of shysters in here trying to get around the king. Well, not really, because they came over here to get away from the king.
Yeah,
Right.
Around
but Plymouth wasn't supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. They missed badly.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
But anyway, effectively, Charles II wanted to streamline control of the New England colonies because it was kind of a mess.
Sure.
And basically they've been fighting with Massachusetts. Massachusetts Bay had their official charter revoked as a colony, so they were just kind of flying in the wind. And eventually Charles II decided to say, the heck with it. I'm going to put this whole thing, I'm going to set all of New England together and just make it one Colony and call it Dominion of New England and put one guy in charge of the whole thing.
He was going to call it hockey.
Yes, but then he died.
Oh.
Like, immediately after that.
Oh,
Wait,
jeez.
was that real?
Charles II died.
No.
No. No.
I was like, wait,
I was
what?
just trying to be a supportive friend. Have a joke. I'm sorry, Hannah.
I was like,
But no.
what?
So, Charles II said, we're going to do this. Was going to appoint a guy. Died.
Oh, he died.
Charles II died.
Not the guy that he appointed. Okay. I'm sure he died at some point,
Yes,
but not in this process.
Yes. But
Okay.
later.
I think he's the governor that repealed Prohibition.
Yes.
These jokes make
Last
sense if you
as
go
well.
back and listen to the last episode.
Remember we said we weren't going to do callbacks? But
We're like 140 episodes, and we can do the occasional callback.
fine. So his replacement, his heir, James II, ended up basically setting up, combining Massachusetts Bay, Plymouth, New Hampshire, Maine, and southern Rhode Island into the original Dominion.
What happened in Northern Rhode Island?
They got added later, along with Connecticut.
Weird. That just seems like a weird, like,
He's-
let's jump over.
I mean, literally, it took like 2 years. He put Narragansett in just Narragansett. The rest of Rhode Island was not.
It's got a great brewery, so
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah. So the capital was in Boston and was originally run by a man named Joseph Dudley, who had no power, no authority, and unsurprisingly accomplished nothing.
No, I mean, is it really his fault if he's got
No,
no
oh
power?
no, he was not set up. He was set up to fail.
Okay.
2 years later, the guy he really wanted, Edmund Andros, got appointed, and they added Connecticut and the rest of Rhode Island to make it like all of New England. So he was an appointed governor, which up until then Massachusetts had always elected their own people. He had an advisory council made up of, it was supposed to be from people who were like all over the colony, or all over the New England, but it was kind of hard to get people to Boston at the time, so it was
Right.
basically,
They couldn't take the red line?
they could take the Red Line, Annie, but the T has been bad for well over 350
I should
years.
say the commuter rails really aren't that great.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. But yeah, so basically it was just it was just people in town who were part of his quote-unquote advisory council. So he came in. He was a strict Anglican in a very puritanical city, so it went swimmingly well. He forced them to hold Church of England services, which means like
Which is,
holiday masses.
Yeah.
but also,
This is right after they had stopped the ban on Christmas. And all of a sudden we're like doing
Easter.
Easter,
Yeah.
we're doing Black Friday, we're doing big elaborate
they're doing Black
funerals.
Friday.
I mean, not Black Sorry.
What were the
Good Friday.
1800 doorbuster sales? You can get a musket for a dime.
That's a lot of money. Oh, I did forget that one of the reasons that the Massachusetts Bay was getting in trouble is that they were printing their own coins,
I was just gonna say the
which
pine shilling.
is what we call treason.
Dun,
'Cause,
dun,
yeah, you're not
dun.
allowed to mint your own coins.
Oh, do you mean like treason?
Sure.
Because it's the
I'm
pine
punny.
shilling. I literally when you said it, I was like, yeah,
But yeah,
treason.
it was a little light treason.
Trees.
Shockingly, not cool. with
Good
it.
pun. I like it.
Yeah.
I thought he
Yeah.
did it on
I wish I
purpose.
had.
I was like, yeah.
Man.
Oh,
Accentuate
total
that tree.
sidebar. I was talking to a podcaster, Pun Master,
Mm-hmm.
about coming to Plymouth. And he's like, I've never been to Plymouth before. And if there isn't a Chinese food restaurant called Plymouth Walk, someone's leaving money on the table.
Oh.
I was actually mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is there not a place called Plymouth Walk?
I think you told that on the last.
Did I?
Yeah. You
Edit
said it
that-
to me the last time I was here.
Edit that out so I don't sound silly.
And if I was editing so you don't sound silly, it's
They would be like, are you on that show?
sorry. Okay, so
Are you on
back
that
to
show?
back to
Treason.
where I was.
Back to treason.
Treason.
Back to treason.
Treason.
Pish. So he forced the Church of England to be, services to be held in Boston, and then he did what you do when you're trying to take over something. you raise taxes, you eliminate local government. He effectively banned town meetings in the towns and allowed them only to have one to like elect local officials, and that was it.
Yikes.
So basically, the towns couldn't run themselves. And then he was not a fan of how the land titles were being handled anywhere, because it was kind of a mess. Some of the spelling was wrong. There were conflicting land claims. Not everything was properly sealed. So his original plan was to make everyone refile their paperwork, which is...
People love doing that.
Yeah, because if there's anything people like, it's having their land possibly taken away.
Also true.
Colonizing is...
I mean,
Yeah, but
it's still kind of like...
he's colonizing the colonists.
How dare
Yeah.
you take the land we took?
Colonizing, I'm sure,
you're
is
the
pretty
people
hairy business.
You're
for
the people we
trying
took
to
it
get
for.
in on
Why are
it.
you taking it back from us?
Yeah.
He also effectively claimed all of the public land and sold it and gave it away to his friends.
I was gonna say personally claimed it.
Officially
Kinda,
claimed
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like
Might as well have.
in his role as the guy in charge.
How do you feel to be like the friend of the friend, or like the friend who thinks he's like a close friend, and then you're like the one that doesn't get?
I'm gonna
Some
get
acres.
some acres. And,
Yeah.
In about 3 years, real good.
Yeah.
Like
Until then, pretty cheese.
like you know what I mean? You're like, oh, like he hears from his other buddies like Dudley's handing out some land. to
Oh, this
just
isn't
his
Dudley.
friend.
Dudley was
this
useless.
is his
Oh, who
this
was
is the
this?
This
follow-up
is
guy.
Edmund Andrews.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
He's like, Andrew's handing out some
The
land.
former governor of New York and apparently there were two New Jerseys, or two Jerseys, East and West.
So yeah, and you're like his friend that isn't quite his friend.
Yeah, there's
Kind of like I thought I was gonna get invited to that wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not quite
thought-
like finding out you're not actually as close as you think you are.
Yeah.
I know.
Fish, I was meaning to tell you, I'm not giving you any land. Sorry.
Oh, good. I thought
Sorry,
you were
buddy.
inviting me to your wedding, and I was really confused. Okay, so this all ran for about 3 years.
Yeah.
It is kind of a side effect where everything takes time, because it's literally, in 1688 they added New York and the New Jerseys to the quote-unquote New England. And then 4 months later he went down to go do the paperwork and visit New York, and then 6 months later come back. So it's
old-timey time.
it is a 3-year existence where honestly not really a ton got done, just because of the time lapse involved with anything happening, where it's
They take your land back, but it still takes 6 months for you to find out they took your land back. Yeah.
oh yeah, like we're talking like months of travel time, weeks of communication lag, a slight skirmish with the I think it's the Penobscot Indians in Maine, where they were raiding each other back and forth, and he went and said, "Stop! Please stop taking hostages and sending them back to Boston. We're not doing this." So now everyone in Maine is mad at him. And this just but he was the guy in charge. He had the military, he had the army. And then, you guys ever heard of the Glorious Revolution?
I mean, yeah, but for our listeners who haven't,
For our listeners who haven't. So for our listeners who aren't fans of English history, the Glorious Revolution is when James II's daughter Mary and her husband, William of Orange, invaded England and deposed her father, because he had another child, taking her out of the line of succession, and they were worried that they were going to have a Catholic monarchy. So
Is this Mary, Queen of Scots?
no, this is not Mary, Queen of Scots. This is Mary II, where she and her husband were the joint rulers of England in the
Okay.
end of the 17th century.
I get those Marys confused over
Yes,
there.
there are so many.
how could you
It's-
possibly
look,
have that happen?
This is England, where there are 5 names and they just cycle them over
Yeah.
and over again, and no one realizes that's a bad plan.
Yeah.
Guys, you don't need 8 Henrys. You don't. There are so many other names.
I mean, when you're all in the family, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They're not all related. Well, I mean, they're related, but like distantly.
And you're going to come up with King Tanner.
Yeah. Grayson.
King Grayson.
Yes. His Royal Majesty, Braden
Yeah.
the Third.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Henry's fine. Henry's okay. I'm okay with Henry as a name. I've come around.
Queen Amidala. They were just big Star Wars fans.
Look, I'm hoping against hope that at some point, Prince Arthur, like little Prince Artie, ascends the throne because I really want there to be an actual King Arthur in
I
England.
thought it was Archibald.
I thought it was Arthur.
I think it's Archibald.
Oh, just heck with that then.
Yeah.
Never mind. You know, no, I'll take King Archie. That's wild.
Yeah.
So anyway, at this point, the people in Massachusetts were very unhappy with Andros. Mm-hmm. And as soon as word came that James II was no longer in charge, a quote-unquote spontaneous mob
It was air quotes there, listener.
and we're in, like, sound quotes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so rose up and spontaneously arrested him and all of his, like, officials.
Oh.
Threw him in jail, and then eventually...
An insurrection.
I was going to say, would that qualify as a coup?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a coup. They cooed. They cuckoo-cachooed.
Cuckoo.
God, we are great.
Cuckoo.
Yeah, anyway, so he was arrested and jailed along with all his officials. His lieutenant governor in New York couldn't send help because he was dealing with his own armed insurrection where he got thrown out. Because it went bad. It went bad fast. Nobody on the colonial side liked what they were doing at all. Because they were coming in, they were changing the rules, and they were trying to enforce a bunch of laws and treaties that none of them really liked. But at the same time, it was just the dude's job.
Yeah.
Like, this is what they sent him to do. It's like, streamline this, organize it, please make it make some kind of sense, because this is all nonsense.
Yeah.
But
He just happened to be the
Meanwhile,
messenger.
the indigenous population is just like, doesn't feel that great, does it?
Yeah.
See, that's
Like-
the thing. He was fine with the Iroquois.
Yeah.
When he was the governor of New York, he literally set up a series of treaties with the Iroquois Confederacy and established peace on the border for years. Like, he was great at that. He was good at his job.
Yeah.
As long as the people he was doing the job with were Anglicans. You put him in Boston with a bunch of Puritans, it all went to pot. Because he was
So it was basically trying to... It's exactly why they left England.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the wrong person for the job.
Yeah.
For very specific reasons. But eventually he was released, sent back. The Dominion fell apart. And all of the colonies went back.
It's too bad, because that was a cool name.
I know, Dominion of New England sounded cool. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I started looking into this. Like, that's wild. Why have I never heard of this?
It reminded me because the company we use for shipping
Is Dominion.
It's Old Dominion,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
But yeah, so
still around, kind of.
all of the colonies went back. Old Dominion, I think, is Virginia's nickname.
Oh,
But all the colonies went back to the original chart except for Massachusetts, which had its charter revoked before this all kicked off, and Plymouth, which apparently never had one. So when you set up a colony, you are given an area to settle, and that is where your laws kick in. By missing their landing so badly, Plymouth's charter never effectively counted.
oh, I was gonna say.
I
I was
see.
like, I actually remember them making.
That's
one.
why we had the Mayflower Compact. They
Yeah.
had to make their own rules, and were
Yeah.
very specifically, and it was very pro
I
the
do-
king, mainly because they didn't want him to get mad at them.
Yeah. I remember.
Because they were just freestyling at that
Yeah,
point, which
they
is
were
not
like-
what you want to do when you're setting up a colony. But so they realized that was the last couple of guys, and then Increase Mather What-
He always comes up.
Yeah, we're in that time between the molasses flood and Shakespeare where increase with the Mathers are big deals.
So I was reading something the other day and I was like, oh wait, what's this? I almost did it. It was the plague in Boston, and it was a plague breakout.
Yeah.
And they were like, Increase Mather came down. And
It's what he was.
It was like right after the Salem witch trials. I was like, there he is.
Yeah, Increase Mather, who is apparently the dude of late 17th century England, also unrelated. Apparently, that is just what Joseph translates to.
Increase?
Joseph, if you translate it in English, means increase.
Oh. So it's Joe Mather
It's It's our buddy Joey Mather.
Oh my God.
as the beaver.
Yes. That's not weird. Like, that blows my mind a
That's
little.
wild.
But it's
Yeah.
just the direct English translation of Joseph.
Interesting.
Doesn't even make any sense.
None.
It doesn't, and yet.
Okay.
But yeah, so he had been in England to try to get their original charter back in Massachusetts Bay, which James II was not a fan of because he didn't want them to go back to...
They're Puritan ways.
Yeah, effectively, yeah, because at the time, especially Massachusetts Bay was run as a Puritan theocracy. If you were not a Puritan, you did not get a vote. And not everyone settling there was a Puritan at the
Right.
time. There were a lot of
Yeah.
fishermen who were just there.
Yeah. There were a lot of people that just like,
We're just settling there.
over.
Sure.
It was
Yeah.
a cool place. It's a nice place to live.
it's new
Yeah. So and then
to them.
yeah. So James settled on his new plan of inflicting a new colony on it. And instead of Massachusetts Bay and Plymouth, it was just the province of Massachusetts Bay.
Gotcha.
And it merged Massachusetts Bay,
Yep.
Plymouth, Maine. Let's see.
Oh, that's right. I remember learning as a kid
Because
that Maine was...
Maine is part of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
A little bit of New Hampshire. And also Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, and the Elizabeth Islands, which were all taken from New York. Because all those islands had been part of New York originally.
Oh,
And were,
interesting.
I think Dutch.
Yes.
And so a couple of changes. They are no longer allowed to elect their own heads of government. Instead of electing their own governor, it was appointed from England. They still had a legislature, but the voting rights were not religious based. They were land ownership based, which cheesed off a lot of the Puritans.
Who didn't own land?
Oh, they own land, but now all of a sudden all these
Oh, the other people that... I gotcha.
All these,
So it's not
like-
that they lost their vote, it's the others
yeah,
who got
it's
their
not
vote.
that we can't, it's that you can and we don't like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Nothing offends people more than other people being allowed to get the rights that they have.
Yes.
Goes all the way back. And also had a very limited freedom of worship, where if you were Christian and not Catholic, you were fine.
Such weird...
It's literally, the line said, non-Catholic Christians. So Protestant,
Yeah.
Eastern Orthodox, I guess. Just, that's it. No popes.
Yeah.
No popes. Certifiably pope-free. Which means that Plymouth Colony officially ceased to exist in 1691 as an
Okay.
independent state.
But if their charter didn't count, could you
Their-
just say they never existed?
No, because they were effectively functioning without legal cover, but they were still functioning. They were still trading. They were still, like, dealing with the crown. They just didn't have, like, the official paperwork saying, hey, this is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
That is the worst.
What?
That was the worst. This is how we do it.
This
I've
is how we do it.
much better.
Yeah.
Let me hear you say.
We didn't practice that. That's spontaneous.
Hannah was fine. You were like off meter.
Sue me. I was singing the other This Is How We Do It.
This is
You will
how
hear
we
from my
do
lawyers. I'm deeply hurt by this. Okay, that's really all I got.
it. That was cool.
It's one of those really weird kind of bits of history that
Yeah, it is.
I feel like it's something that somehow I had never heard of.
Yeah.
Because just growing up, it's especially like we live in Plymouth County.
Yeah, I think
We're recording in.
I think I'd
downtown
heard of it.
Plymouth.
I just didn't even like.
I had like it had just never come up in history class.
I just didn't like. Not like her.
I mean, so much didn't come up in history class.
I know,
but
but like
it switching over to the new
Yeah.
colony, like that staple in time. Like I knew that, but like they just didn't really like. They were like, it didn't work out, so here is the next thing. They just glazed over.
Yeah, see, I don't even remember it being glazed. I just remember going, "Oh, the Pilgrims landed in Plymouth." So anyway, the lead
And then the Civil War broke out.
the
Revolution. Yeah, sorry.
The lead up to the Revolutionary War it's like, wait, it's been 150 years and we just ignored all of it.
But I mean that's part of the problem.
Oh, it's
you just can't teach
part
everything.
of the difficulty of teaching history is that there is too much of it to really get. I'm just caught up because I'm surprised that we didn't cover it because it is like so very local and it never came up at all.
Yeah.
To me. That's what got me.
It got me too.
I was okay with it.
And now
Oh, thanks, buddy.
we get it. Now we understand.
But, Dominion of New England's much cooler.
I do like
Dominion
that.
of New England is a very cool.
Yeah.
Like, we should bring it back.
Yeah.
Be like our hardcore band name.
Yeah, it does sound like that. Yeah. I like it.
Okay, I guess this is the part where we stop talking.
And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/Inebri-art to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at Inebri-art.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or at Inebri-art6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebri-art, and all the other shows on the Inebri-art Network, which you can find at Inebri-art.com. Thanks again for listening.